we start off the show with the 3 things you guys are talking about in the sports world this week. And for thing number 1, Brady gets the bag, Andy.
Finally.
Yeah, with Joe Buck and Troy Aikman bolting for Monday Night Football, Fox had a big void to fill with their number 1 color spot, and boy, did they fill it. Tom Brady, once he retires, will become Fox's number 1 color commentator, likely teaming up with Kevin Burkhardt, and he is getting paid. The contract with Fox is for 10 years, $375 million. He's literally going to be making more talking about football than he did playing the game. That is GOAT status, if you ask me. And I know, Andy, you're the president of the Tom Brady fan club on the show. So what was your reaction to the deal, all the money being made, and do you think he's going to be the GOAT commentator as well? Because we don't even know if he's good at commentating.
Well, my first thought was like, what happened during those 3 weeks, right? When Tom Brady was retired, like what went on in his house where he's like, I got to get back to football. And then he's like, I also, when I'm done with football, I need to have a full-time job. That's a very important job. That's going to keep me calling football games for the rest of my life, maybe. And, you know, it's great. Tom Brady is the GOAT at football. We all know that already, but he's also already the GOAT of announcing football games. I say that because why? He's never announced a game, and Fox is like, here's all of our money. You can have every bit you can have. He's the GOAT. Imagine, Mac, if you had a job and some other place was like, hey, Mac, when you're done with that job, you've never done this before, but we want to give you $50,000 trillion million to do it. You're like, yeah, you'd be a legend. And that's what Tom Brady is. He's already better than Troy Aikman. He's already better than Tony Romo. Let's admit it. Romo was great in his first year. He's starting to get a little old on us here. Tom Brady's going to step into that thing. And he watches tape like every second of the day. He's going to be really good at this job. All those people that say like, oh, he might be like the bad Joe Montana was at this. Like, no, Tom Brady's going to be great at this. He's the GOAT at football. He's the GOAT at announcing. And he's the GOAT of my heart, whatever that means.
On the subject of football, we are going to move on to thing number 2. Mark your NFL calendars. It is time. Andy, the NFL schedule comes out this week, and much like the draft, the league is trying to turn this into a must-see off-season TV event. We know everyone, or we already have known everyone who is going to be playing for a while, but this is when we finally get the win, which is apparently a big deal to some. I don't know. I know it's a big deal. Like I don't know. But according to the LA Times, when Tom Brady unretired, the NFL schedule makers had to start all over. How inconsiderate of Tom. But that story does go to show how meticulous the league is scheduling the biggest matchups in primetime spots. So Andy, I'd ask you which matchups you're most excited about this season, but what does it say that the literal release of the schedule has become this whole thing?
It is crazy. And if you listen closely, you can hear all the NFL execs just laughing because they just keep throwing stuff at us like, hey, here's the draft where we just read names off cue cards and you guys are going to fly in from all over the country. And hey, a couple weeks later, while the NBA and NHL playoffs are going on, and I guess baseball is going on too, they're like, we're going to tell you dates and times of when these, and we're all like, yeah, okay, well, let's line up. What time are they playing? What day are they playing? Like people are literally walking around going, oh, Thursday's the day we finally find out what time they're playing. So it's insane. The NFL is our drug dealer, and we're walking up to him going like, hey, can you tell me what date and time the Dolphins are going to play the Bills? So it's crazy. The NFL, as we said last week, is king, and this just only shows it even more.
All right, moving on to thing number 3.
Let's do it.
Angels in the playoff field. So, yeah, for years it felt like the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim had the biggest stars but had the lousiest teams, and that may have finally changed. Because this week, a rookie pitcher threw a no-no, and righty Anthony Rendon hit a home run from the left side of the plate. Crazy. The Angels are rolling and one of the best teams in baseball right now. So, Andy, will we finally see Ohtani and Trout on baseball's biggest stage in October? Like, how big of a win would this be for baseball?
It would be a huge win for the Angels, huge win for MLB, who just needs to have the Angels in the playoffs. We haven't seen Mike Trout in the playoffs in forever. Ohtani has never been in the playoffs. Like, this team is the most exciting team in baseball right now. They're, as we record this, they're in first place in the AL West. They had a great Gatorade bucket fail the other day. They had Rendon hit a home run as a lefty for the first time in his 10-year career. They had a no-hitter. They got Trout hitting home runs almost every night. They got Ohtani pitching and hitting and doing all sorts of things that no one's ever done. He's the most exciting player baseball's had in maybe 60 years. So to get them in the playoffs, it's a long ways away. And we know the Angels can struggle at times. But if they can get to the playoffs, huge win for MLB, which MLB desperately needs.
Hey, sports fans, if you want to watch more sports seriously, be sure to check out these clips right here. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel to see all the great content from us here at USA Today Sports.